Welcome to my channel. I'm so glad you're here. Today, I'm going to show you how to paint dreams in Procreate. I'm going to be painting from a photo reference. First, I'm going to paint a portrait that looks pretty much like the reference, and then I'm going to take it into the dream world. I start by tracing the outline over the photo, and then come in with some big block colors. This is on a layer called underpainting. So I'm just using a big brush and getting in some basic block underpainting colors. The hair, the face, the cheeks, and then moving into the face more and blocking in with a smaller brush, blocking in around the lips. You can see as I'm adding color here, I'm using what I know about the figure, shadows, lights, and darks to replicate what's in the reference photo, and along the way use my own favorite colors to add a little bit of my own personality. So here I'm working through with the Procreate brush, and it's at an opacity of about 50 to 80%, changing as needed, using the pressure from the pencil to go over areas and make them darker. You see the screen flickering to white and back. That's when I'm showing just the drawing layer. The drawing layer is actually above the painting layer and it's locked. You can see I'm working on the lips right now just from the reference. I'm not using the drawing right now. As I need more structure, I'll turn the lines of the drawing layer back on and then off when I'm looking directly at the photo reference, trying to match color and value. I'm mostly using color and value only. Ooh, here I'm working on the eyes. So in the eyes, these eyes take a while. 30, 40 minutes, sometimes an hour and a half per eye. Going in and defining the upper eyelid, the lower eyelid, the lines underneath the eye, the iris. The iris is never quite one color. It's a little hard to tell in this recording, but it is many different colors, browns and greens. Working on some of the very fine details of the eye. So with the basic figure in place, I move to the background. I hide my reference and I start splattering. There's a splatter brush that I use and I'm intentionally going over the face. Now here you see me working on the hair. I always use my own layer, its own layer for hair. Hair can really define a portrait. I like to start a portrait with a pretty flat representation of the hair. Here you can see I turned off the underpainting. The underpainting, as you remember, had a dark color just defining where the hair was. Now I'm using a transparent brush at about 50% opacity to draw in some depth to the hair. Back to the eyes. So working on the area above the upper eyelid. I'm using cool colors. As you can see, these aren't directly in the reference photo, but I've chosen to use them to cool down that area and send it back in space. Cooler than it actually is in the photo. This is starting to give her some of the dream quality to her. Working on eyelashes and the lines above the eyes. I'm doing some experimentation here with trying some different ways to represent the eyelashes. Okay, here it took me a while. I was experimenting with a halo in pink and blue. I ended up destroying what I did and reverting several times. Reverting by just undoing like a billion times. Now I'm playing with all the different colors of the background and the blend effects of the layers, layer blending. Here you can see she's very, very pink because of the blending. Trying out tons and tons and tons of different options, spending hours trying to find that right dreamy, ghostly look. I think here I decided I wanted to go back in and refine some of the edges. And now I'm back to playing with the halo. When you're making art, you're going to make mistakes. The quicker you can make your mistakes and recover from them, the quicker you're going to discover what really wants to come out. Oh my God, look at this. There's like a galaxy in her face. I'm kind of glad I didn't stick with that one. So continue to refine the edges and experiment with blend modes. Because I have things on different layers, I have a lot of power to show and hide things in the compositing. What I mean by compositing is taking the layers and having them play against each other in different ways. I'm adding highlights now, highlights to the lips, throwing some white on and some dark. I always like to save some very dark darks and some very bright whites until the very end. It really kicks the painting up a notch. Putting some finishing touches on the lips. The lips, the nose, and the eyes are the most important, and they're positioned from each other. That's how you get likeness, is by having the lips, the nose, and the eyes in the right place. So we're getting closer here. You can see my palette I made up in the upper right corner. At this time, I wasn't using Procreate's palettes. Oh, here we go back on the hair layer, adding highlights to the hair, adding in some brush strokes. I'm using a brush from the Procreate base pack for hair for those eyelashes, and I'm using a different brush, the long hair brush, with lights and darks to add highlights and shadows to the hair. I love doing hair. I like saving it until last. Here we go. Playing with what it might look like at the very end. Now I'm schizophrenic. I'm trying to decide, do I want it pink? Do I want it blue? I'm changing and probably coming back over multiple days. I was really convinced I wanted it pink. The previous painting I had done had a lot of pink in it. And I was really fixated with the idea of pink and the play off of her cheeks. You can see how I'm making some edits. I'm adding some darks to the ear there with the idea that this is going to be up against this pink. Still in love with the pink. But then I'm like, oh, I should try something else. So I turned on the layer with the splatter again. And I'm experimenting with what this will look like. I'm going in and adding a few more details, getting used to what this painting might be like in its file form. And I just did some experimentation. Wow. Okay. Tons of things happening there. Tons of experiments here I'm just erasing large chunks of her face and her hair, letting it just disappear. I think I'm doing this just on a layer. Here we get that mossy texture. I went a little too far by taking out her whole cheek. Coming back, turning on layers. That mossiness in her hair is back. Playing with those final blend modes. Getting closer. Red, pink, blue, black. And we've arrived. This is where I landed. It could have been so many other things, but this is what I wanted. This is what called to me in the moment. This is how I make her feel dreamy. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, just let me know in the comments. Bye for now.